What's up, everybody? Welcome back to more 428 Shibuya Scramble. My name is Raven from the Sky, and let's continue. All right, so we got to choose another place to meet. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have Toyama choose himself. I started to do that first, but it's an achievement to get all the bad endings for whatever time block you're in, and it's a silver one too. So guess that's one good to come out of bad endings. Other than other than that, you just get annoyed. You have to go back and figure out what the right choice is. Nothing suitable came to mind. Probably Toyama should decide. You got any suggestions? Minokara said. Let's see. There's a bar in Daikanyama. I drive by a lot. How about there? High-end residential housing, huh? High-end restaurants. High-end interior design stores and high-end residential housing all line the streets. A settlement dating back 2,000 years to the Yayoi period has been excavated in Dakinyama, but it cannot be said for sure whether its dwellings were high-end for the time. Yeah. Okay, so start by heading north from Shibuya Station. After a while, then you'll hit a three-way intersection, turn left there, and then about 100 meters after that, take a right. Along the way, there'll be a side street that branches off at the diagonal. Go down that and take a right at the second intersection. And then head right down the stairs there, and it'll look like you need to go left at this slightly curving incline, but go right. And, okay, this is getting way too complicated. Forget it. I'll pick a place. Minoru suggested the cafe by the station. By now, it was comfortably familiar. Oh, well, we should have so we should have selected that first. I felt like it's too busy. But then again, it's nighttime by now, so. Okay, Toyama said. Cafe Lautrec. Got it. I'll see you there. He hung up and Minoru quickly gathered his belongings. Chaiki. How's it? Okay, we've already seen that part. Alright, alright, we just gotta go through this. That's fine. Bring computer, come with me. Then we're gonna run into the guy. We're gonna debate why we should wait till 8 o'clock when he wants it at 5:30. Be a new viewer or lurky loo and I'm going too fast, just pause the video. But I've already seen this part. They reached Cafe Lautrec without incident, and Minokawa promptly spotted the publisher. "Over here," Toyama hissed, eyeing his surroundings with obvious unease. Hannah sat by his side, soothingly sipping on some juice. Sullenly sipping on some juice. The waitress came over as Minokawa joined them. "May I take your order?" she asked. Waiter. I mean, water. It's the same. I bet. I bet you it's that same waitress. "Just water, sir." "Fine, make it a double." Exasperated, the waitress headed back to the kitchen. The same waitress. She got to be sick of this dude. Toyama looked over at Katayama. "Who's this guy?" "I'm Koichiro Katayama from Cho Nippon Printing." Katayama presented his business card. Toyama turned to Minokawa with a quizzical look. "What's someone from the printer doing with you?" "I'll explain later. There's no time for that right now," Minokawa replied. "First, I need you to answer some questions." "Does the name Kenji Osawa ring any bells?" Osawa. Toyama closed his eyes and thought. "He heads up a laboratory at Okashi Pharmaceutical." "You ran a piece on him in the first ever issue of 4-Star General Gossip." Toyama's face lit up with recognition. "Ah yes, that political marriage piece." "Yeah, that one. You remember the details from that article?" "Of course. Who do you think I am?" Toyama puffed himself up proudly. "I used to be a local news copy editor for the Central Times. I've got the details for all the stuff I've ever covered here in my head." Covered. No wonder people are laughing at the way I read. "In that case, do you know who Kenji Osawa's wife was dating before they got married?" My mouth is moving faster than my brain. That's why people are laughing at the way I read. Toyama blinked his eyes vacantly. "Hey, what's the matter?" Minokawa asked. This is a pretty tough pop quiz you're giving me." "Cut the crap, man. You just said you have all the details inside your head." "Oh, they're in there all right. They're just not coming out." Minokawa slumped. "Mr. Toyama, please. Whether or not you'll be able to pay off your debts depends on your memory here." Hearing this, Hannah cast a cold glare up at her father. Oh, look at that stare. Alright, I can remember. Or I can at least try. Toyama folded his arms and hummed to himself. His gaze turned inward. So I feel like it was a really common name. Saito, Chaiki chirped. Yamada. Was it either of those? They're pretty common names. But Toyama shook his head. Minokawa offered a guess of his own. Tanaka? No, not that. Oh, God. It was something else. Just then, the television inside the cafe switched over to a news report on Shibuya explosion. The remains of the individual discovered within the minivan itself, who has since been identified as a pharmaceutical company executive, Mamoru Tanaka. Mamoru Tanaka? Toyama turned around and looked at the TV. An image of the victim's face appeared on the screen. But what? The publisher blurted, nearly falling off his seat. That's it. It was him right there. Isn't that what we just said? Mamoru Tanaka. That's what I said, Tanaka. Toyama pointed excitedly at the TV screen. That's who Keiji Osawa's wife was dating before they got married. Mamoru Tanaka. Minokawa felt himself getting goosebumps. The victim of the terrorist bombing in Shibuya was also linked to the researcher who was key to a terrorist viral scare. Okay. His reporter's hunch was now a certainty. Right now, Shibuya was at the center of some massive conspiracy. This went far beyond even a major scoop. Mr. Toyama, we need to make sure that next month's issue hits shelves. Minokawa called up Keiji Osawa to let him know the results of his little investigation. Can we jump? Not yet. We have to come back. We have to start his story and then come back. The man didn't seem terribly surprised. Probably he'd had his suspicions all along. Saul told him that there was something he needed to do before he was ready to give details on the big scoop, but he would call back later. In the meantime, Minokawa knew he'd have his hands full getting the current issue of the gossip wrapped up for the 7 o'clock deadline. He slapped his hands down on the table. All right, emergency editing meeting right here, he announced. We need to get a lead in on the Shibuya terrorist bombing into the next issue. An article about the twins winning the beauty contest can be dropped for that. We'll use the info from Keiji Osawa as the basis of our big scoop in the issue after that. Mr. Toyama, any problems with that? No. That should be fine. But what about the remaining pages for the next month's issue? Minokawa opened the file on his computer. The layout built in the DTP came up on the monitor. The report on the Burning Hammer sales demo. The surveillance camera opinion piece, interview with Orare. Those 3 were finished. The copy already incorporated into the layout. Once Chaiki's street interview piece was loaded in, that one could be checked off as well. Chaiki, how's your copy coming along? I'm sorry, I just need a little bit longer. The writing seemed to still be giving her a far bit of trouble. The article on SOS was still just a placeholder in the layout. Minokawa hadn't even gotten any material for that, putting it even further behind than Chaiki's street interviews. Still, he'd at least learned where Shibuya's legendary street gang made their hangout. He'd just have to take the risk of dropping in on them unannounced to ambush them with some interview questions. And then there was the lead-in for Shibuya bombing. That wasn't even in the layout yet. It was a complete blank slate. Against all odds, they were going to need to put that article together from nothing with just an hour and change. It was an impossible amount of work for just him and Chaiki to do. Well, well, well. And how are things coming along? Katayama rose and came closer, trying to peer at the monitor. Minoru hurried to cover the screen. Don't look. If the printer rep saw all the blank pages, he might decide to stop waiting. Would you mind telling me roughly what percent of the total you have completed thus far? What percent? Come off it, man. We're at 100%. If you're 100% done, that implies you're all finished. Could I please have the data then? No, I'm not saying our willpower is at 100%. There we go again. I'm saying our willpower is at 100%. I'm not even going to pretend I understand what you mean by that. Shaking his head, Katayama sat back down in his chair. Minoru, Toyama asked, his expression uneasy. So I know I asked before, but why is someone from the printer here again? Katayama promptly chimed in. The long and short of it is that your proofing deadline has been changed to 7 o'clock, he said. What? That's impossible. Who's doing the lead-in for the Shibuya bombing? Toyama eyed Minoru and then Chaiki both stared back non-committedly. Then it really is impossible. We'll never meet that deadline. We don't have enough people. No, we do have enough. Minoru thrust out his finger. Mr. Toyama, you're going to write that one and handle the layout. What? Heaven Publishing is your company. Won't you step up in order to protect it? Toyama hung his head. Even if I headed to the scene right now, sure, the other outlets have already gotten their coverage. I wouldn't be able to find anything new to write about. Whoa! And so you're just gonna give up? A moment later, Toyama was on the floor, Minoru glaring down at him. You've always said you want to tell the world about the things the mass media can't or won't write about. So what the hell difference does it make if they've already gotten the sound bites they're after? Minoru's voice echoed. I skipped it. Hit A too fast, X too fast. Don't you dare give up. Not that easily. Get your butt out here. Find something that only you can write about. Minoru. Toyama began to object, and he glanced over at Hana. There was an imploring look in her eyes as well. I get what you're saying, Toyama grumbled. But still, you're expecting a lot. But then, despite his words, he flashed a broad grin. Yeah, Minoru let out a quiet chuckle. And this got you all fired up. Yeah, I'm fired up all right. Toyama's face shone with a resolve Minoru hadn't seen in a long time. There we go. That's the Toyama I know. You know, I'm really sorry. Now I see the huge burden I put on you. But damn it, it's gonna be alright. Getting to his feet, Toyama took his daughter by the hand and strode boldly out of the cafe, looking like a changed man. Minoru watched him go, glad the dithering was over. Even if Toyama was still in his prime, he'd be cutting it close to do that article in an hour. But he would pull through somehow. When it came to taking care of Hana, the man would rise to the occasion again and again. Father and daughter disappeared into the crowd, hand in hand. Minoru shook himself out of his reverie. "All right," he cried. Despite the clear blue sky, an unexpected gust of wind blew across his cheek. "Come on, guys. We gotta get going, too." Things might look grim, but he wasn't going to give up until the bitter end. It was time to head to the SOS hangout, Inferno. The three ran along hard after leaving the cafe. The proofing deadline was at 7 o'clock, but they need to be finished up with SOS by 6:30 at the least. The gang's hangout was in Harajuku. Running all the way there on foot was going to eat too much of their time. We could flag down the same cab driver, but traffic was at a near standstill for some reason, and there wasn't a taxi on site. "How long do you plan on running like this?" Katayama called out, panting. "Just take a look at the road. With this traffic, there's no point in hailing a cab." Even Minoru was feeling the time pressure now. Look at Chaiki. Look at her face. "We're just gonna have to keep running until the road's clear." "What?" Katayama wailed. "Stop your whining. Just keep quiet and stick with me." He finally gotten Toyama to find his willpower again. The next month's issue will come out on time, and no way was some printing guy gonna mess that up now. The traffic showed no signs of abating. Catching a cab wasn't going to be an option. Fighting an ever louder echo of despair, Minoru kept up his desperate headlong rush. Still, there were limits to how far the mind could push the body before exhaustion set in. Eek! Uh-oh. Oh, and she dropped her computer. As they were running across a pedestrian overpass, Chaiki slipped and took a nasty fall. Oh my God. She skinned her knee hard enough to draw blood. "Hey you," Minoru snapped at Katayama. "Don't just stand there. Help the poor girl already." Katayama scurried over to Chaiki. "I'm sorry, Mr. Mino. Chaiki's voice bubbled with suppressed tears. Maybe it was cruel to make her run with her computer all the way to Harajuku. The copy for her interview still needed to be looked over. They couldn't just leave her there. Minoru hesitated undecidedly. Even at a full run, they wouldn't make it in time. And with traffic the way it is, there was nothing they could do. You now have... Katayama consulted his pocket watch. Exactly 1 hour remaining. Damn it, Minoru raged. What do we do? Oh God, here we go. I bet she's gonna make us choose. Relentlessly, the clock ticked on. Keep out. To be continued. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for watching. My name is Raven from the Sky. If you enjoyed the episode, drop a like and subscribe to the channel and the series grow. Take care, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.